The disappearance of a child is every parent's worst nightmare. On the afternoon of June 15, 2021, 5-year-old Summer Wells went missing from her home in Rogersville, Tennessee. The events leading up to her disappearance paint a picture of a typical day for Summer and her family, but the outcome was far from typical. Summer's day began with a trip to the Halston Valley Medical Center with her mother, Candace, and her grandmother, Candy. The purpose of the visit was to seek medical attention for Grandma Candy's knee pain. Candace instructed Summer's older brothers to stay at home while she took care of Grandma Candy. Summer's father, Don Wells, was already at work by this time. After dropping off Grandma Candy at the hospital, Candace, Summer, and a teenage friend, H, ran errands around town. During this time, Candace received a disturbing phone call from Don about a suspicious man on their property. This added an element of unease to the already hectic day. The group then continued their activities at Warriors Path State Park, where Summer enjoyed splashing in the water while Candace and H relaxed by the lake. The day seemed to be going well until Summer went missing from the family's property later that afternoon. The moments leading up to Summer's disappearance are hauntingly normal, Summer playing outside, helping with gardening, and enjoying a piece of candy for her efforts. However, in an instant, the tranquility of the day was shattered when Candace realized that Summer was no longer in the vicinity. Frantic with worry, Candace searched the house, called out for Summer, and scoured the surrounding area in search of her daughter. With no sign of Summer, Candace contacted law enforcement and continued the search with the help of neighbors and family members. The disappearance of Summer Wells has gripped the community and captured national attention. The search efforts have been extensive, involving multiple law enforcement agencies, search and rescue teams, and volunteers from the community. Despite the tireless efforts to locate Summer, she remains missing, leaving her family and the community in a state of anguish and uncertainty. The circumstances surrounding Summer's disappearance raise many questions and concerns. What could have led to Summer going missing? Was it a case of abduction, or did she wander off and become lost in the wilderness? The conflicting reports and lack of concrete evidence have only added to the mystery and complexity of the case. As the search for Summer continues, it is essential to remember the importance of community support, cooperation with law enforcement, and vigilance in sharing information that may lead to her safe return. The focus should remain on finding Summer and bringing her home, no matter how long it takes. In conclusion, the case of missing child Summer Wells is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of children and the importance of swift and coordinated response in such situations. The search for Summer has united the community in a shared goal to bring her home safely. As the investigation unfolds and new leads emerge, it is crucial to remain hopeful and vigilant in the pursuit of finding Summer and ensuring her well-being. Our thoughts and prayers are with Summer, her family, and all those involved in the search efforts. May she be found safe and sound, and may her story serve as a reminder of the preciousness of every child's life. On the morning of Tuesday, June 15, 2021, 5-year-old Summer Wells was woken early by her mother, Candace. They had to take Summer's grandmother, Candy, to the Halston Valley Medical Center in nearby Kingsport, Tennessee. Grandma Candy had trouble with her knee, and she was in a lot of pain that day. Before they left the house, Candace told Summer's brothers, 12-year-old J, 11-year-old W, and 9-year-old W, to stay in the house until she got home. Candace's husband, Don Wells, had already left for work. Candace, Summer, and Grandma Candy made the 40-minute drive to the city of Kingsport. After they dropped Grandma Candy off at the hospital, Candace and Summer waited in the truck for a while before Candace made a quick phone call to H, her friend Allison's 15-year-old son. She told H she would pick him up and they could go fishing after Grandma Candy was released from the hospital. H joined Candace and Summer, and the three ran errands around town. At some point that morning, Candace got a phone call from Don. He usually called her every few hours just to check in, but this call was strange. Don told Candace that there was a man on their property, the same man that had supposedly been lurking around their house for the past week. Candace told H that she thought the man was stalking her children. After Candace hung up with Dawn, they returned to the hospital to pick up Grandma Candy, then drove to Warriors Path State Park, a recreation area located on Fort Patrick Henry Lake. At the park, Summer splashed around in the swimming hole while Candace took pictures and videos to post on TikTok. Candace and Hunter sat by the water, vaping and drinking twisted tea. Grandma Candy sat in the truck for a while, but then decided she wanted to join the rest of the group down by the water. While Candace went to help her mother down the hill, H watched Summer swim. Summer disappeared under the water for a few seconds, and when she didn't resurface, H jumped into the water to check on her. When he pulled her up, she was laughing, clearly fine and having a wonderful time. After everyone dried off and Summer had changed out of her swimsuit, they piled back into the truck and ran a few more errands, including picking up groceries and Grandma Candy's prescription at the local Walgreens. They then dropped H3 back off at his house and made the drive home to Rogersville. Summer fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the day's activities. When they arrived home around 3:30 p.m., Candace found the boys sitting in the kitchen watching television. She asked them to help bring the groceries into the house while she started the laundry. For a while, everyone was just hanging out around the house. Grandma Candy mentioned that it would be a good time to replant some of the flowers in front of her camper, so she and Candace recruited Summer to help. The three of them worked to fill the planters, with Summer arranging the rocks and adding her small plastic Paw Patrol toys on top as a finishing touch. When they were done, they went into Grandma Candy's camper to wash their hands, and Summer got a piece of candy as a reward for her hard work. Summer then said she wanted to go back to the house with her brothers. Candace watched as Summer walked the few short yards to the main house. She could see the boys sitting at the kitchen table, so she called over to them, telling them to watch Summer for a few minutes while she fixed Grandma Candy's knee brace. When Candace made it back to the house a short while later, she asked the boys where Summer was. They told her that Summer had gone down to the basement to play with her toys. Candace called down to Summer, but there was no answer. Concerned, Candace climbed down the stairs to see if she could lay eyes on her daughter, but Summer wasn't there. She then went through the entire house, calling Summer's name, growing more frantic by the minute. She went outside, yelling for Summer, hoping she would hear her responding through the trees. Candace told the boys to grab their walkie-talkies and their buck knives and go down to search by the creek. She hopped into her mom's truck and started driving the dirt roads, calling out for Summer. She didn't see anyone around, and she didn't see her daughter. Back at the house, Candace called Don. She told him, "I can't find Summer. Get home now." But Don was over an hour away at a job site. He told Candace to call 911, so she ran over to her mother's camper to use her phone, the only one that had enough signal to make the call. Candace told the dispatcher that her 5-year-old daughter was missing, that she had been playing down in the basement and had just disappeared. The dispatcher said that officers were on the way, but Candace wasn't going to wait around. She hopped back in the truck and drove to a neighbor's house, asking if they would help her look for Summer, just in case she wandered off. Candace drove as far back into the holler as the truck would go, but there was still no sign of Summer. By the time she made it back to the house, Dawn had arrived home, and police officers were coming up the driveway.